Hey guys, Mars Thinking here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so finally, we've been waiting for days, every morning, waiting for the hour to hit, well, 8 in the UK, midnight in PST US, to see if Dokkan would finally post information about the LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku EZA. And they finally have. So we got this official post on the JP Dokkan Twitter, and I've all been sat waiting patiently for someone to translate the EZA details. Truth put up a tweet saying that Goresh was busy, so we've just been waiting for somebody to get it done, and we are going to take a look. Shout out to Blader over here on Twitter. Someone in my chat linked me this thread of the translations here, so we're going to go ahead and jump right in, talk about this Goku, as well as some of the other stuff that was teased on JP for, well, I say teased, but announced to be upcoming in this next part of the celebration over on the JP side. So, first part of his passive is 59% and 200%, 59% attack and 200% defense at the start of turn. Then an additional attack and defense 120% when performing a super. Reduce damage received by 50% until this character performs an ultra super. So, interestingly, this is kind of like a new mechanic, right? Because we've had characters that have damage reduction or extra defense until they attack, but it's like any attack, right? Whereas this is specifically the ultra super. So what this means is in certain situations where it would be more beneficial to do so, like against an int enemy, for example, Fusion Zamasu maybe, if you deliberately get the 12 key super, then Goku would still have the 50% damage reduction after supering, which is going to be pretty good considering just by these two numbers in the first part of his passive, he's got like 320% defense post super, and would then have 50% damage reduction if it was the 12 key. So that's quite interesting. Then the second part of the passive, additional attack 200%, and once only disable the attacked enemy's action once within the turn when performing an ultra super. So the ultra super gives an additional 200% attack on top of the 120 attack and defense that we've already seen, and then once only you get the action break. It's kind of interesting that that is a once only ability that's on there, because, you know, it means unless you're going to avoid getting the 18 key super, it's like the first attack of the event he does an action break, and then you don't have it to potentially use later. But certainly still an interesting ability. Getting the 18 key super and getting the action break, obviously very powerful, and it is the once only. Then we have gains an additional 2 key up to 6 and 20% attack up to 59% with each super attack performed. So that's regardless of whether it's 12 key or 18 key. So again, if you want to like deliberately 12 key on the first turn to not use up the action break and to keep the damage reduction, you are still getting this build up. So that's very good. Only 3 supers required. Additional definitely will be good for this guy, I think. Part 3, starting from the 6th turn from the first appearance, when there is one enemy at the start of the turn and own HP is 59% or less. That's a pretty weighty restriction. So turn 6 against one enemy, HP 59% or less, you get 7 key, 59% attack, and once only guaranteed crit for the turn. So that's interesting. I mean, 6 turn from his first appearance, of course, means that if he's on turn 1, that's all well and good, right? But then if he's in like turn 2 or slot 7 even, for example, there'll be certain events where you won't even get to use this. And it's got an HP restriction as well. So even in earlier turns against some of these big bosses where you end up actually taking a lot of damage, you're still not going to be able to use it because you can't use it until turn 6 and the HP restriction, which is kind of crazy. But it does give you a mega boost. Like if you ever get this, you're getting the 18 key super, another 59% attack on top of everything else that he's doing. Like he's going to hit like an absolute freight train on this turn. And if you get the guaranteed crit, and then of course if it happens again, like on the next turn, if you're still below 59%, you still get the 7 key and 59% attack, you just don't get the guaranteed crit. And then the super attack effects, greatly raise attack, which is an infinite stack, because I looked at the actual picture like that needed to be translated, and there is a comma. So greatly raise attack, and then raise defense for 1 turn on the 12 key. Causes colossal damage to the enemy with a high chance to stun. And then the 18 key is massively raise attack and raise defense for 1 turn. cause mega colossal damage to the enemy, and massively lowers defense. So the huge thing here is obviously I'll bring up the details. This is him like pre-EZA. The number one thing that we all wanted to be removed is this: minus 70% attack when performing an ultra super. And he doesn't have that anymore. He gets attack and defense when performing any super, and then if it's an ultra super, he gets a ton of extra attack. So previously he only had 120 defense at start of turn, and now he's getting a bunch of that on top of attack as well. So if we go back to the thread, it's like what, 59% attack and 200% defense at the start of turn, 120 to both when performing a super of either variety. So even his 12 key super, because that was the thing, his 18 key super was always really strong. He was the hardest hitting unit in the game when he came out, but his 12 key super didn't hit particularly hard, but it did have that stun chance, so it could be useful for things like Super Battle Road, which at the time was some of the most difficult content in the game. Obviously there were some older Dokkan events and stuff like that back then that you could actually stun as well, so that worked out like relatively well. But this means his 12 key super actually does have the potential to hit relatively hard as well, which is quite good. So he seems like he is very, very strong. Damage reduction, which you keep if you do the 12 key super. The 12 key super is infinitely stacking attack. So again, like, it seems like a really good strategy, especially against something like Int Fusion Zamasu, is turn 1, you just deliberately get the 12 key super, keep the damage reduction, get an infinite stack on your attack, and then on the next turn, or potentially even if you've gotten to the physical phase, then you get the 18 key super. And because of the fact that he's also getting this extra bit of build up here from doing multiple supers, if you're not doing his 18 key super for the first time until like his second or third appearance, you're getting all of this extra attack as well as the one time only like action break. Like, he is going to hit so hard. And of course, if he does get an additional super, you're doing the 12 key, but that's going to do really good damage as well, because even if this wasn't a stack, it's greatly raising attack. So I can already imagine like the numbers for this guy are going to be insane. Like a turn where he does his 18 key super and then does an additional into the 12 key super, he's going to do so much damage. So this is awesome. And having the damage reduction, the only problem is his start of turn defense won't be insanely high, because it's just the 200. I mean, 200% is a lot, but it's 200% start of turn. But then he's getting 120 on super. He's raising defense on super. Like, he's going to be so good. If you just get the 12 key super, so you don't lose that damage reduction, he's going to tank. Like, he tanks every normal in the game, right? Like, if he's just doing the 12 key super, 50% damage reduction, his defense is easily going to be going up to over 500k. So with 50% damage reduction, he easily tanks every single normal in the game. So that is really, really good. So very, very impressed with this. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. On JP, we got a couple of new Super Battle Road stages. Well, one new Super Battle Road, one new ESBR. But the only other thing that was interesting was this. The update for the new stages for the new movie bosses red zone that's on JP. And you can see there we get a Z Broly stage, because Broly from the existing movie bosses one is Super Broly, and then the Bio Broly. So Bio Broly finally being a red zone boss in the game is quite funny. But yeah, the big news of the day, LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku EZA finally announced, and I mean, he seems cracked. I will absolutely do a private server showcase once we get the data download, but I can imagine he is going to be incredibly good. So I am very, very happy. A lot of these older units, they get their EZAs and they're disappointing, looking at you, Jiren, and in Goku Black, but this guy seems very, very strong. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments section. So that's going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.